Hey everybody, what's up? All right, I'm coming on here live. I was going to have more clothes on, but I'm giving 0 Fs right now because it's like still 90 something degrees here in New Hampshire. Whoa, so it's super hot day today. And I had something that I wanted to just talk about that was on my heart a little bit because I have been getting so many awesome messages and the kindest words and love and support from people who are just love what I do, or they just want to say, that what I say on my videos or what the work that I do resonates with them and that I've helped them in certain ways or inspired them. And I'm so grateful and I'm so blessed for that. And I love those messages. And I love to hear from you and get, feedback, whether it's something that's helped you or something you want to see me talk about or whatever it is. I'm open to all that. So I thank you. And it was interesting that I got one comment from someone who was talking about my confidence and asking how do I get my confidence, and almost like I don't feel anxiety, like how do I seem to have everything together, right? And I know sometimes that appears that way when you're on social media and you come on videos, you talk or you post about certain things you've got going on in your life, and a lot of times it does appear like perhaps people have their shit together, or nothing goes wrong, or that everything's perfectly planned out and they're on top of everything. And I want everyone to know that while I certainly have come a long way, my confidence now is in an unshakable place. But it took me, I'm 47 years old, and it took me the greater part of my life to get here. And I too dealt with anxiety for a long time. So I was somebody who, there's anxiety issues on both sides of my family. Probably in my 20s, actually no, more like my 30s is when I started to notice panic attacks occasionally, like getting that shortness of breath or that chest tightness, or just really allowing thoughts to go down a downward spiral. And especially when it seemed to get worse once I had my kids, I used to get more panic attacks. And I used to, and then recently dealing with Lyme and healing from Lyme disease, I would have panic attacks coming from that. And it wasn't fun. And I had no idea how to deal with it. I would get totally panicked out. I'd have to lie down. I thought I was dying. I would not know what was wrong. I had no coping skills for anxiety attacks at all. I had none. And I was somebody who had probably in a fight or flight mode for most of my life. I dealt with my fair share of childhood trauma and some early adult trauma. And so I was always kind of in that not totally able to relax mode. Like, when you're kind of a little bit high strung, always kind of ready to pounce like a cat that's watching, ready for something to attack, always on the defense. Like, that was me. I've spent a lot of time on the defense. And, and I had a lot of feedback when I was young, when I was small, from a family member that, when I would speak my truth or I would give any opinions or ideas, that they were either stupid or they weren't valid or they weren't my own, or I didn't know what I was talking about, or I was being bossy or forward. So had a lot of repeated messages that, I wasn't like speaking my truth and just talking, really, being forward, or being kind of like, I'm a Leo, I'm like a Leo child, like only child Leo. Like I always had kind of that fiery, I don't know, that I was always kind of in the front. And I was told, kind of triggered one of my family members, and I was told like to push back, scale back, tone it down. It's too much. People are going to think you're bossy. People are going to think that you're, high on yourself. You're conceited. People are going to, your ideas aren't correct. Like you have to do, all sorts of things. So over time I got extremely quiet. So if I had to speak in a public setting, if I had to share thoughts and ideas, like on a live stream like this, it took me a while to get the courage to do all these, because I was always told that, my thoughts and feelings were bullshit, and anything that I had to share was crap. So I had my fair share of anxiety. So where I am now is not where I always was. And so So I'll tell you now what I deal with to overcome anxiety. It took me a while to figure out some real strategies and learn a lot of things, which meant I had to invest in myself. I had to get coaches. I had to get courses. I had to do a lot of studying. I had to really study people who were high performing, people who had that unshakable confidence. I had to watch a lot of videos, a lot of audios. But some of these, I'll give you some ideas of how I overcome anxiety now. It doesn't mean that the anxious feelings never come up. Like, I don't think you ever truly get rid of them. You just know how to be aware of them and then how to manage it. That's how to control it and how to kind of diffuse it. So that's what I do. And my feelings about anxiety meds, I'm someone who tends to shy away from pharmaceuticals and medications. That's just me. I'm a homeopathic, naturopathic gal. But when medication is needed and something comes up, when it's appropriate, I'm totally for it. So with anxiety though, I really didn't want to go there for a long time. And then when I had Lyme and I would get attacks of not being able to breathe well, I would start to panic. And then I couldn't sleep because I was afraid. So my primary care at the time said, why don't we try Ativan? And I've told this story before on a separate video, but I'll tell a little bit of it. So I used to take 1 milligram Ativan and I'd cut it in half and then I'd cut it in fourths and then I'd cut it in eighths. And I would take an eighth of an Ativan and it worked. I mean, I'm going to say this. People used to laugh at me and say that was a joke. It wouldn't even do anything. It was like totally pointless, but I would feel it. Like, it would help bring the anxiety down and it would help to be much calmer. But what I found over a couple of months is that my speech was slower, my thought process slowed down. I didn't really feel anything at all after a while. I was like, as a matter of fact, I don't feel anxiety, but I don't feel anything. I wasn't laughing, I wasn't crying, I wasn't, doing anything. Like, I didn't feel a lot of affection. Like, I became kind of a shell of myself, right? And that scared the hell out of me. So I ended up just being done with it. I weaned myself off, like cutting it even smaller. I don't recommend anyone do that. If you're going to do that, be under the supervision of a doctor. And I'm not saying that sometimes meds aren't necessary. If somebody's having a serious anxiety or depression situation, sometimes you need to be under the care of a doctor and you need to have medication to get you over the hump. I mean, I totally get there's those times. What I found is that it's not a long-term solution. It wasn't a strategy that was going to sustain. And as a matter of fact, I didn't like what was happening. I didn't like that I was changing because of it. So for now, I have some natural supplements that I use, but here's what made the most difference. Okay, it wasn't so much what I had to take to help anxiety. It was things that I had to train my mind on. So for example, my number one thing is having a morning routine. Always setting yourself up for positivity and groundedness and centeredness. Doesn't mean that, negative feelings aren't okay. Sometimes, and I've said this before, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel things. That's one thing I didn't like about the meds. I didn't feel, and I realized that I wanted to feel. Even when I was upset and, things, I was frustrated or upset or I had, wanted to cry, like, that's okay. I would rather do that. I'm human. I'm meant to feel all the feels, and I have to do that. But I noticed that if I set myself up first thing in the morning with a strategy to keep myself grounded and to keep myself positive, then it definitely set the tone for the day. When I would wake up, right out of the gate with the kids, right into like the chaos, or even when I was younger, just, hit the snooze button and be like, I don't want to get out of bed. It seemed like the day went like that from there. Like, it just, somehow it was like manifesting stuff that I didn't want. It was manifesting all the things that I was afraid of in the first place. So when I'd have a crappy day, it just would go like that. My mindset would go right downhill. So that means setting myself up with meditating. Meditating is huge. And I thought, oh my gosh, at first I was like, oh, that's woo-woo stuff. That's for people who do yoga. It's actually, no, it's something that's a deeply relaxing technique that you can use to control your anxiety. This is one of my go-tos. And I didn't think it would be a big deal until I tried it. And there's no right or wrong. And the thing is, people feel like, I'm going to do it wrong. I'm going to screw it up. I don't know how to do it. and it has to be some deep, like Dalai Lama spiritual practices, big show of it. And it doesn't. It can actually just be you sitting alone for a minute or two and just centering and thinking of nothing and just allowing your mind to be at rest, letting the thoughts come in and just letting them, diffusing them and letting them just fade away, and training yourself to really not think about anything for a little bit. Just be within, just be with yourself, just be comfortable being, right? We have so much doing in our culture. We always feel like we have to be doing. Now it's just about the being. So just practice doing that. If it's 2 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever turns you on, meditating, and also breathing. I didn't even realize I learned breathing techniques. So that helps to manage anxiety, like breathing in slowly for a count of 5, and then breathing out slowly for a count of 5, or even a count of 7, and doing it over and over again. Being conscious about taking those deep breaths, those deep belly breaths. And I would highly recommend to anyone trying Kundalini yoga. Even if you're not a yoga person, not that there is any such thing, right? But even if yoga is not your thing for fitness, Kundalini yoga is really about breathing, and it's about feeling centered and actually feeling your body, so that you'll know when your body gives you the cues that something's not in alignment. So you know when the anxiety's coming, you can feel it. And then how do you breathe? How do you have techniques to stretch and breathe in order to diffuse that? Okay, Kundalini yoga, meditation, affirmations, I do them every morning, 2 minutes. There's a YouTube video if you need, you can write down your affirmations. You can watch videos and repeat after on YouTube. I do both, a combination of those things. And at first, again, when I first started all these practices, I thought, oh goodness, that's not going to work. If I affirm that I am this, I am that, and you don't feel like you are, you're feeling anxious, or you're feeling not so great, you're having a lot of self-doubt, you're having a lot of, your confidence is shaky, I'm telling you, keep doing it and repeating it, because over time, you are training your subconscious to believe what it is that you're saying. And you are amazing. You are abundance. You are success. You are all that is. You are wisdom. You are beauty. You are grace. You are love. You are all those things. We all are, because we're part of the divine creative energy. So declare those things. Declare your birthright, okay? And then over time, your subconscious will start to change and you'll feel differently. I can't tell you when it will happen for you, but it's like a subtle shift. And you will start to really be able to go to your affirmations almost as mantras during the day when you need them, to know and to train yourself to remembering who you are, that divine side of yourself, and that everything's going to be okay. The universe has your back. You can take control of your own thought. Phone call and keep them from spiraling out. The next thing is I just absolutely every day non-negotiable, positive self-development, personal development, absolutely non-negotiable. Every single day, every morning, noon, and night. I have my headphones in, I'm watching a video, I'm listening to a podcast or an audio. When I'm cleaning the house, when I have, spare moment, when I'm driving, as much as you can absorb all of that information, all that positivity, and all of that centering, do so. That's one of the things that I do. One of the other things that I do in reading books as well is reconnecting with my vision. And if you don't have a vision for your life, I would highly suggest working with a coach or someone that you trust, a mentor, to really know what it is that you want and why you want it. Because when you're super connected to your own why and vision, then it's easy to chase away the fears and the doubts that creep in, because you're so committed to going where you want to go. You're so fired up and passionate about the life that you want, about the things that you're trying to accomplish, the things that fire you up, the life that you want to have, that nothing bumps you off the path. Are there going to be hard times, hard moments, challenges? Hell yes. But whenever those come up, you will be able to figure it out. Everything will become figure-outable. And that's what's awesome about really working on your vision. If you have any questions about that, let me know. That's my absolute passion, is helping people create a vision that they absolutely just love, and that they're committed to coming up with a strategy to make it happen. And the last thing is to just plan your days. If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel anxious, if you feel like you have too much going on and you're wearing too many hats and you can't even think straight of what you're supposed to do that day, guard your mindset and guard your time. So put yourself as a priority. Do a to-do list per day with no more than 3 things. I keep it to 3 things a day because if I try to pile everything into one day, I can feel the anxiety creeping up. I can feel the overwhelm, and it just gets to be too much. So try to really have, guard your time, plan your time, and be really mindful and deliberate about how you spend that. So as it's getting darker really quick out here, I'm like, wow, all of a sudden it's getting really dark. So as you do this work, you're going to be uncomfortable. As you do new things into your routine, you learn new skills, and you're trying to really diffuse the anxious feelings. And all the anxiety is your ego trying to protect you. It's old limiting beliefs. It's old things you've been told. It's old stories that are in your head that are trying to come to the surface and keep you safe. That means if you're trying to go out of your comfort zone, it's really they're going to come up and try to protect you and keep you in your comfort zone. So know that all of this is an exercise in going the heck out of your comfort zone and being uncomfortable. But breathe through it. Do all these techniques when everything comes up. And believe me, I'm telling you, it makes such a difference. I remember in my 30s being very frustrated a lot. When the anxiety attacks would come, I'd be snappy with the people I'd be cranky, snippy, short-tempered with the people that I cared about. And it was really because I didn't have a vision of what I really wanted. I wasn't speaking my truth. I wasn't setting boundaries. I wasn't standing up for myself. I wasn't really living life on purpose. And once I connected with all of these things, I figured out my passion, my purpose, my vision that was right for me, okay? Not according to anybody else's opinions or anybody else's rules or ideas of what I should be doing. And then I had strategies and techniques, like I just said, that I put into place to manage my negative thoughts and manage my negative self-talk. Everything changed, and it's a practice. It's not perfection. Do a little at a time until you feel comfortable. And please, message me if you need help with this. If you look at my post from a couple of days ago, my partner company, we're coming out with courses that are going to go over things like procrastination, how to end procrastination, how to succeed, mind, body, spirit, and health, how to do all of these things. And so I am inviting you to check this out. $22 a month is our subscription price for our customers, my soul warriors, where you can come into this group. You can have access to all of these courses that I mentioned, and we're going to add to this too, and meditative audios, okay? And a coaching group with me, they're live and online to help you get through these, to get through your breakthroughs, to stop letting anxiety take over you. Stop letting your fears get in your way and start moving into the person that you're meant to be, because who you are is amazing right now. And now it's time to connect with that higher self, that best version of you. Time to really step into your passion, power, and purpose. And that's what this group is. That's what Project Soul Warriors is. And we're just about to step into a new phase with all these new courses. So I'm letting everyone know, this is a perfect time. We'll set up our happiness course goes over your morning routine, how to set up, how to meditate, how to set up your mantras for the day, how to visualize, all these things. These are the things we're going to teach you step by step, and you have me there with you. And for $22 a month, that's less than a cup of coffee a day. It's crazy. It's crazy. You're not going to find that anywhere. So if you're interested in this at all, definitely comment below, let me know, message me, because this is starting very soon within the next couple of weeks. All right, so with that, I hope all these things helped you. Let me know if you have your own best practices for really dealing with anxiety and chasing away fear. And I will talk to you on the next live. Love you all. Thank you so much for being here with me. Love you.